Today, we're going to take this pleather from Spotlight to create these very cute Valentine's Day bookmarks. Let's make this. My inspiration for this project has been the number of leather magnetic bookmarks that have been appearing all over Pinterest and Etsy and those kind of places. You'll remember from a while ago, I made a print and cut magnetic bookmark, which had an owl on it. But now, since then, it's moved from the print and cut area to now doing faux leather and doing a little bit of vinyl or a little bit of leather embossing. So I thought I'll give it a go and see whether or not we can make a faux leather bookmark of our own. The materials we'll need for this project include a strong grip mat as well as a standard grip mat. I've got some little round magnets that I got from a shop called Shiploads in Tasmania. I've got some disco pleather from Spotlight, and then I've got my iron-on vinyl scraps. For today's project, we're going to use both some Google images as well as our Design Space shapes. So I'm going to start with a heart. We're going to do a Valentine's theme. So we're going to use a heart. And I'm just changing the size to 7. Now you can change this to whatever size you like. I think for a regular book, which is about an A5 size, a 7 centimetre width is pretty substantial. And then I've just duplicated that heart 2 more times, and you'll see why in a minute. And then I've just gone to flip, and I've flipped it vertically. So that means one of the hearts is pointing up, one of the hearts is pointing down. And then I want to put them as close together as I can so that they're kind of just sitting on top of each other. And then I've gone and I've chosen 2 of those 2 hearts that are on top of each other, and I have aligned them. And I want to align them in the center, just so that they, when we cut them and later on when we fold them together, they're going to sit exactly on top of each other. I've grabbed a square shape and I've just put that over the top of the gap between the hearts. The reason I've done that is because I just worry about the Cricut actually cutting that faux leather or that pleather kind of stuff. So I just want to cover that up so that we don't have any issues with that cutting. It might be a little bit too intricate for it. Now I've got some text. I'm going to put on one side the Be Mine, you know, like those little lollies, the love heart shaped lollies that you get. And one of them says Be Mine, so I'm going to do Be Mine. I've gone through and I've had a look and I've chosen Arial Rounded. Now that should be a font that comes with your computer. You shouldn't have to go and find it on 1001 fonts or anything like that. I think it comes with both a Mac and an Apple, but you can choose any font you like. I've just chosen this one because I think it kind of fits in with that lolly theme just off the top of my head. I didn't do a lot of research about the font, but from what I can remember from when I was a kid, I think that's the kind of around about the font that we could use. And now I'm going into Google Images. And what I want to do is grab a random heart pattern. Now I've done a transparent search just to see if I can get one that doesn't have a background, just to make it a little bit easier. But I'm looking for ones that don't have all the hearts looking exactly the same. I don't want a repeated pattern that is exact. I just want it to be a little bit random. But you can see in this first image, those tiny little hearts probably are a little bit too tiny. So I want one that the Cricut will cut. So we're going to cut that out of iron-on vinyl. So the other thing to make sure of is to find one that doesn't have a watermark on the back of it. So when you click on it, on the image, you'll see sometimes that the artist has put maybe the name of the company or their name very faintly across the image, and it's so that when you are copying these images you can't reuse them for your own purposes. To sell them and things like that, you've got to pay the company. So I've found one here that's got a whole heap of different hearts. I think those little hearts shouldn't be too much of a problem, so I'm going to save that. Now make sure that you do save this as a .png. So you, in the save as section, you're going to type the name of the file that you, whatever you want to call it, and make sure you put .png. Lots of images that we are getting off Google these days, and I'm not sure why, are called .avif. That might just be a Mac thing, I'm not sure. But if you save it as a .avif, the file won't open in Design Space. So you need to make sure that you name it. So I've got heart pattern, and then I've got .png, and it will ask me if I want to use that extension if you're using a Mac. I think if you use Windows, it will just save it for you as a PNG without asking. Then I'm going to go back into Design Space, and I'm going to upload this image. So I'm just going to find the image in my folder, and then I'm going to drag it in, or you could hit the Browse button. Make sure you move the PNG file over, and then hit Continue. Now this one that I found is not a transparent file, so I am going to have to get rid of the background, and fingers crossed it does it in one hit. To check that, I've gone to Preview Single Layer, and yes, it's done it all at once. Then I'm going to upload it as a single layer file, and you can see there that it's quite large, but that's fine because we can resize it. What I want to do is cover that heart that's on its own that hasn't been combined with the other one. I want to cover it. So I've just moved my pattern shape around. So I've got some quite big hearts in there as well as some little ones, so that you can really distinguish. You can really tell that it is they're a random set of hearts all around this big heart. So then I'm going to select the upload as well as the heart that I've put in from shapes, and I'm going to go down to slice. Now what we want to do is we want to get rid of all of the components apart from the hearts that are left. But you can see that now we have the outline of the heart with a whole heap of hearts on the inside. Now I'm just a little concerned by a couple of these really tiny slithers, because what we've done is we've sliced that image of all of the random hearts, but we've got some little slithers here at the top, and then a couple at the bottom, on the left hand side of my heart. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a shape. I think the circle is probably going to be the best, and I'm just going to use a number of them because it won't be, we can't do this in one hit, but I'm going to use a number of them, and I'm just going to cover the little parts of the heart that I don't want the Cricut to cut out. So I'm going to use four or five of these just to cover all of those little components that the Cricut will either not cut out or we're going to have trouble weeding, essentially. And then I'm going to select all of those circles. I'm going to then unite them. I'm uniting them because I feel like when we go to do the next step, because it's one shape, it's going to hopefully you do the subtract without any issues. And then we're going to select the slice result and the unite together. Then we're going to go back down to combine again, but this time I want you to hit subtract. And now you can see that all of the components that we don't want to be cut in our heart have now disappeared. All right. The final step here is, first of all, to save it, and then we just need to go to make. So we've really only got 3 components that we are getting the Cricut to cut today. We've got the random hearts, we've got the Be Mine, and we've got our combined 2 hearts to make our bookmark. The Be Mine and the random heart pattern, they're both going to be cut out with iron-on vinyl. So when you go to that, you can choose iron-on vinyl. Make sure you mirror that. And I'm moving the random hearts onto the same mat as Be Mine because there's quite little. And I'm just using scrap vinyl, so I think that I won't have any problem finding some vinyl that will be able to be used on one mat and do that cut. Make sure that's mirrored because it is iron-on vinyl. And then when we're doing our two hearts that have been combined together, we're actually going to use like a pleather. So I'm going to do a search for pleather, but it doesn't come up. It says it doesn't exist. So then I've just tried leather and it comes up as faux leather. So, and paper thin. So that's the one we're going to use, faux leather paper thin. And it will tell us just to use a normal fine point blade. You don't need a special blade to do this project. I thought when I first started using it that I would have to use the deep point blade, so I went out and bought deep point blades from Amazon and all that kind of stuff, and then turned out I didn't need them. But, you know, deep point blades are great for other things, just not for this project. And then with our Be Mine and the heart, we're just doing iron-on vinyl. For our pleather, we're going to use our strong grip mat, so that's the purple mat. But for extra insurance that the material won't lift as you're cutting, make sure that you use some masking tape to go around the edge. The reason you use masking tape is just so that it's less harsh than regular sticky tape, which means it should lift and it should come off your material without doing any damage to it. So just make sure you do that just to give yourself a little bit of extra grip onto that mat. Now that we've weeded everything, it's really just a matter of ironing all of these components together. I've got this on a 2 setting on my mini press. I maybe could go a little bit cooler, so go on to the 1 setting, just because this pleather, that beautiful sequiny looking component of it, sometimes it melts if you press too hard, but I'm going to try it with the level 2, but just make sure I don't put too much heat or too much pressure down, just enough to make the vinyl stick. So I'm going to start with the hearts, or the random heart component. Kind of looks a bit like a animal print, to be honest. But I've chosen this really light pink metallic kind of font, and I've just very lightly pressed it down. I don't want to go too hard on it. And then this one is a bit of a warm peel, so I'm going to peel it off. You can experiment on some scrap to see whether it's a hot peel or a cold peel. But with this one, I already know that it's a bit of a warm or a hot peel. So I'm going to pull that off after I've given it a tiny little bit of time. And I think it looks okay. Like I said, it looks a bit animal printy, and I'm not an animal print person. But it's cute. It's Valentine's-y. It's definitely heart-like. And then the last bit is the Be Mine. Now, this is a holographic iron-on vinyl. It's a Caesar one. It's so cool. I love it. It weeds really easily, but I did have to actually put that back through the Cricut, because you do need to make sure you choose the holographic vinyl when you do the cut. So just a little tip there, if you do use the holographic vinyl from Caesar, make sure you use the right cutting method. And again, this is a hot warm peel. Oh, that is cool. I really like that one. I'm a little bit not sure about the hearts, but I really love the Be Mine. That is very cool. And now the final step is just to fold it over, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a press just to make it fold properly. I don't want it to be, I don't know whether it's a bit loopy or a bit not as crisp. And also the other reason to do this too is because, as we know, when you're using iron-on vinyl, you do need to give it that final little press to make sure it doesn't lift later. So make sure you do give it a little bit of an iron. Not too much pressure, again, just to keep that sequin kind of pattern. Yeah, I think it's cute. It's a real good little, and I hate the term, but the Valentine present to give to your friends. I don't know if your boyfriend or girlfriend will be excited if that's your Valentine's present, but your friends might think it's pretty cute. It's a good one for teachers too. You could whip these up really quickly and give them all to your little primary school kids. High school kids will think you're weird, but primary school will be excited. Well, there it is. It's all finished. What a quick little Valentine's project that is actually quite cute. The more I look at it, I find it really cute. It does work, obviously, in a book. You could adapt this and you could have made it a magnet if you wanted to instead. You could even put a keyring through it. But it's a really good one for using up lots of little scrap bits and pieces. You could have maybe played around with some different coloured vinyls to do your heart pattern or something like that. But it is a really good, quick project for Valentine's Day. I hope you all have a really nice Valentine, and I'll see you next week for another project. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget, you can always jump on my Instagram, head over to my Etsy store, or even check out the videos YouTube recommends for you down below.